Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today I want to bring you the update on the Bane pop Occultist, and I'm just super excited about this build. It's just fantastic. The clearing speed is just ridiculous, and it also can pull off all content, including an Uber Elder kill that I will put in the end of the video to show you guys that you can even do Uber Elder while dual wielding the Obliteration Wand. So if you want to go max out DPS, what I want to talk about later in the gearing section, you can easily pull out like 3 times more DPS just with some good weapon setups with like another 70-80% chaos damage every time multiplier, and I don't know what else. But for me personally, the main focus here on this build is the mapping speed mapping, basically the zooming through, just explode everything with this insane area of effect coming from the Carcass Jack, Wind Shriek, and so on. And I gotta say, this build is just fantastic. So for the map showcase, I would say we're gonna run like a Haunted Mansion, maybe, like take this one. So you can pretty much take any kind of map mods because it's a chaos build. So Fizz Reflect, Ellie Reflect, all that kind of stuff doesn't really matter. And maybe at the end, an Elder Beach map here with a 97% that I should actually run with the, for my Chayula, not Chayula Rotas, for the Breach Rotas, right? But I would say let's just take this one to run those 2 maps because it's just hella fun and fantastic to play. What you're gonna see here is in one hand the Bane, and in the other hand the Herald of Ash. And if you're now wondering, hey, wait a second, Herald of Ash does not work with the Bane, that's correct. But we are taking advantage of the Profane Bloom explosion plus dual wielding Obliteration Wands. So we have a 52% chance to explode an enemy, and the explosion will then like proc the Herald of Ash. The Herald of Ash will then have a pretty big area of effect as well, burning down enemies it hits because of the overkill damage. The enemies that are killed from the Herald of Ash will then explode again, so a good mob density will bring us like 3-4 screen clears, which is kind of insane. Playstyle, pop your flasks, and then just run around and just demolish everything. You just have to like touch them, and in the end, the whole screen is just going to explode. And some of the explosions are delayed just because of the Herald of Ash burning damage that you're gonna see sometimes when you think like, hey, some mobs didn't explode, it was delayed, and this is because the Herald of Ash took a little bit longer here. Single target can be better, but as I said, I already did Uber Elder with this one, so it's not really a big deal. So we have some Wither Totems here. They're stacking up the Wither effect, so it takes more chaos damage, and it's a tier 16 map. And in the end, it's just a chaos build. So you're gonna just dot it and then just wait until the loot procs, and that's about it. So perfect. Easy clap. But yeah, for the mapping speed, as I said, it's just ridiculously fast. Every time you see some mobs, you're just gonna use one Bane and see everything just exploding, and it's just, I personally just love it, and I would actually consider this as maybe my next league starter because it is that cheap to get going, because Obliteration Wands are not expensive, a Carcass Check is not too expensive in the league start, and what else, the gloves, the Vixen gloves for the additional curses is not expensive. Like, you can already, like, you can invest into this build heavily as well, but as I said, I did Uber Elder with the Obliteration one, so I'm missing so much damage, and I was already able to do all content, so every more investment here would just be more insane. So as you see, map showcase, it's just fantastic. So let's run another map here with the 95% beach map. Let's just do like probably Nemesis, maybe get a Headhunter drop, that would be nice. And yes, I sometimes do play with Headhunter, but it's a chaos build, so chaos builds do not insanely profit from Headhunter buffs. Like any alley build, crit builds, like all that kind of stuff is way better with a Headhunter. You can still get it in for like extra energy shield or all resistance or the haste buff or something like that. But I think a good substitution would be Viscous Leash, not because of anything on the belt. The only thing I care about is the Rampage, because I'm without the belt, I'm also like res capped. So that's why I play in the map showcase without Headhunter, and as you see, it's still insanely fast, and I hope we're gonna have some nice big explosions coming up here if the mob density plays towards our build here, but it seems like not. God, Elder Beach map and has a mob density that, like, I don't know what. But we could actually run a breach afterwards if you want to, because breaches do have a lot of mob density. And it's actually quite nice and fun to play. I would actually say let's just run a breach, to be honest. Yeah, whatever this map. Let's just run a breach because this is where the actual fun begins here. So, preparation, where do I have that? I think I have some pure stones somewhere here. Let's take a pure soft stone. So this is the highest soft stone it can get, and as you can see, or as you will see, it's actually not a big deal. Tier 16 maps, Guardians, everything desolate on this character. It's just amazing. So I would say we open this one. This is, as I said, a pure stone. So we're gonna kill off the first mobs here, and actually the timer is way lower. That's actually sad. I wanted this to be to open up and then have some insane explosions. As you see, this was like 2 or 3 screens already. This is, you just stomp one mob here with the Bane, and then the chain reaction of the Herald of Ash combination with the Obliteration and Profane Bloom is just taking care of everything, and it's just an amazing build. So I would say let's just finish this Elder, like this pure Xof stone. Not even sure if I should do Xof himself, because as I said, we currently have about 500,000 Shaper DPS without any multi-modded chaos damage weapons or something like that. So the damage will look a little bit rough, but as I said, you can easily get in, maybe for a cheaper version here, the Cane of the Unraveling on the second weapon slot, because here we have just Flame Dash and the Cast One Damage Taken setup, or at least like the Wither setup and Cast One Damage Taken. So if you want to, you can, as I said, go and weapon swap a Cane of the Unraveling, even take a 6-link Essence Drain, a Blight setup, anything like that that will massively boost your single target DPS. But I personally think that it's not even that necessary at all, because I can already clear all content. It just takes a little bit longer. And for making it cheaper, why should I waste even more exalts on the character just for having a better single target? So, breach is almost clear, and as you see, it is just easy. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, just explode everything, and it's just fantastic. Let's try actually Xof, but I don't think it will be too good DPS here. Yeah, he's dropping. He's dropping. Slowly but steady. But the good thing is, on these chaos builds, you dot it once, then you have a 4-second window to just run around, dodge everything you want, and the boss will just like disappear after a certain amount of time. And as you see, just run around. The Bane radius is so insanely big, so it's actually super easy to just outrange him and then just, yeah, pick up the loot. And this was the pure Xof, so this is actually the hardest as it can get in terms of Xof. So I would say let's talk about the gear and how this one works together. I would say let's just drop everything into here. So we're gonna do that later on with the cleanup. God, the OCD wants me to have exactly 40 and 40. So there we go. Let's talk about the build itself. So the mechanic behind this build is the combination between popping enemies with Profane Bloom and Obliterations, and then have the Herald of Ash to increase the range of the area of effect explosions, and then just have massive chain reactions with the pop into Herald of Ash, into the next pop, into Herald of Ash, and just demolish the whole screen, or even further, like 3 or 4 screens was I think my max here. So the way this works is we have Profane Bloom. So we're Occultist, we have Profane Bloom. So if we calculate this now, the way you calculate this, it's not like 25% here and double 20% on the weapons. It is, it has some diminishing return, so it's not additive. That means it's not 25 plus 20 plus 20. It is more like this. You're gonna calculate the way, how high is the chance of the enemy not exploding. So here we have 25%, that means 75% chance for the enemy to not explode, right? Then we multiply this one by the Obliteration Wand, which says 20% chance to explode. That means 0.8, like 80% chance for the enemy to not explode. And since we're dual wielding, we're gonna take this one again, another 0.8, so we have 48% for the monster to not explode. That means 52% chance to explode. So without this one, it's just 25% chance. Now we have like 52% chance to explode the enemy. And only the explosion from Obliteration and Profane Bloom can trigger the Herald of Ash, not Bane, okay? So if I would remove the Profane Bloom and the Obliteration ones and have Herald of Ash on and just kill stuff with Bane, I will never see any kind of Herald of Ash effect, okay? So just to make sure that this is clear, that only the explosion will trigger the Herald of Ash. So we're running a 4-link Herald of Ash setup, with that being burning damage, swift affliction, and increased area of effect. So the way this works is, on the green text you see the burn inflicted by this skill can only be affected by modifiers to damage over time. So my Malevolence is an aura that gives me damage over time. Burning damage gives fire damage over time. We have Swift Affliction giving damage over time, since this is a duration tag attached on Herald of Ash, so the Swift Affliction works as well. So our overkill damage that is going to calculate from the explosion will then even be hit or tick harder with the support gems attached to Herald of Ash. And then we have 52% reserved, so we need to run Malevolence with an Enlightened support to have the Enlightened to 38. That means we have currently 90% mana reserved to 10% is free, and with a lot of mana regen that we run on the build, it's not a problem to permanently keep casting Bane. I mean, you probably cannot permanently cast it, but don't forget about the Bane lasts 4.4 seconds. So you're not stand at the boss and do like this. This is absolutely useless, right? You go to the boss, get your Bane done, then you have 4.4 seconds to get your Wither Totems done, so your Bane will even do more damage, and then you're just gonna refresh it, and you will always have the mana here. Alright, so let's talk about, yeah, the gem setups here. So Obliteration ones with Spell Totem, multiple totems, and the Wither support. So Withering is a debuff that is attached to the enemy, stacks up 15 times, and it lowers the resistance of the enemy, the Chaos resistance, so our Bane does more damage. In the offhand, we have Cast Damage Taking, Immortal Call, and Withering Stab. Withering Stab for this nice speed boost when it procs. And yeah, so in the Helm slot, I choose to go with a Hubris Circlet, because we're kind of hybrid here. With the Malevolence, reduced mana reservation here. With the Enlighten, we get this down to 38%, so we can have enough. If you don't have the Helm enchant, you can easily just take this cluster here, the reduced mana reservation over here, or over here with the Charisma and the reduced mana reservation. So it's just like 4 points or 1 point here, and then you can basically skip the mana reservation enchant and go for blight damage or something like that. So it's not really hard to do that. And even if you take those points here, don't forget your Herald of Ash will then reserve less mana as well. So taking those 4 points and this one here, then you might even not be able, or don't have to run the Enlightened support either. So this is a simple fact to do for League starts, for example. So here, Malevolence, Enlighten, and then Flame Dash with Arcane Surge. Pretty easy setup here. So for the chest, this is a Carcass chest, and this is probably the only expensive item that I'm using here, and this is just because of the double corruption here with the 2 Socketed Duration gems and 2 of Curse gems. Since Bane is both Duration and Curse, this is actually a +4 to Bane, which my Bane is currently level 28, which is, yeah, quite massive. So Bane scales insanely off the base levels, like every other Chaos skill here, right? And you have to take into account that I link Despair to it. So Bane is actually just a damage over time effect, but you can trigger curses from the Bane. So if I would link Bane with 5 curses, I could use 5 curses if your maximum curse limit is max 5 or higher, so you can get all curses on. But the thing is, like, if we read the text here, 55% more damage per curse applied. The thing is, you can run multiple curses, but the damage will suffer. So we've done a lot of calculations, even back when it got released in 3.6, I think. And the thing is, if you run only one single curse and soak it up with like 4 support gems, with that being Empower, Efficiency, Swift Affliction, and Control Destruction, you're gonna do more damage than with just like 5 curses, basically. And if you don't have the Empower, then just take Void Manipulation for League starts, so you save another couple of exalts here. As I said, the Carcass check double corrupted is kind of pricey, so if you need it or not, in the end, it's not going to be any effective on your playstyle itself. It's just more single target DPS, because even without the +4 here on the chest, the map mods do just explode. It's just like something for Uber Elder or something like that. But if you want more single target, as I said before, just weapon swap to an actual chaos damage weapon, because the obliterations will not bring me anything on Uber Elder, for example. Alright, next on the list is the Vixen's Entrapment. These are gloves that goes hand in hand with the Bane. And the reason is, it says trigger a socketed curse kill when you cast a curse kill. So Bane is a curse kill. So as soon as I cast the Bane, I'm getting all the curses that are attached to these gloves here. And I'm currently running Temp Chains, Poacher's Mark, Enhance, and Enfeeble. I would say 3 curse is optimal, I would say, because the spare is the first curse. This is lowering the chaos resistance of the enemy, so basically you take more damage. Then the temp chains and the enfeeble will both like make the enemy slower in his attack speed. I think accuracy and stuff like crit strike multiplier, like they're just gonna be a lot weaker. And this is the 3 curse setup that I would recommend. I use Poacher's Mark on top of that just because I bought these gloves with 1 maximum frenzy charge for an Exalt. So I thought, like, why not just take frenzy charges as well? And the Poacher's Mark, the only reason to run that is that I can generate the charges and I get flask charges when I kill enemies. This is just like a mapping thing, okay? So I would just recommend having 3 curses. So the thing is how to get easy 3 curses. Pretty much, you're gonna get Malediction, additional curse, then you have on the gloves itself, you can have an additional curse, then the Wind Shriek boots can have an additional curse, one you can have in general, then you could take Whispers of Doom for a 5th curse, and then you can take other rings and you can stack up the curses, but we're not a curse bot. But I would say, with my current setup here, the Poacher's Mark works out quite fine with the Frenzied Charges, because Frenzied Charges gives you more damage on top of that. Then next on the list is the Wind Shriek. They are boots that give you an additional curse and 60% increased area of effect of curse skills. What personally is not too necessary, because this will only count for the area of effect of our Bane, same as, where was it, this one here. The Star of Rayclast is an amulet. This is a vendor recipe for 1 ruby ring, then 1 onyx amulet, and a level 20 corrupted lightning warp. If you vendor those 3 items, you get this item, and it also says 60% increased area of effect of curse skills. So if I get this one in here, you're gonna see that my Bane is actually getting bigger and bigger and bigger, but I don't think it's necessary at all. So the boots, I took it for the additional curse, so I can run the Poacher's Mark to generate frenzy charges. If you skip the Poacher's Mark, then just take any kind of rare boots with life and resistance, and you'll be fine. And as I said, the amulet itself, if we take a look at it, it doesn't really bring you anything. Fire resistance is fine, all resistance is fine, area of effect of curse skills, not necessary, and the rest, yeah. You get a free, what is it called? A Frost Blink. This is what you get, and this has like the same cooldown as Flame Dash, so yeah. This is something you could use, but it doesn't stack up 3 times, so Flame Dash is way more reliable, so I don't think it's worth it. I personally don't think, since we have already so much AoE. Alright, in here, as I said, Herald of Ash, burning damage, Swift Affliction, and increased area of effect. So next on the list is my amulet. This is just an Elder Amulet, just chaos spammed for the chaos damage over time multiplier. No, actually this is essence crafted with the chaos damage suffix, so this is a Essence of Envy, I think it was. Then just spammed a couple until I hit the chaos damage over time multiplier. I would personally just recommend, I think I had this one yesterday, where I just like alt spam for 1 mod and then just multi-modded it straight away, and then take whatever you want. Life, I took life, then area of effect, and here max energy shield, since we're kind of hybrid and there is no other prefix that is actually really good here. And since the chaos damage over time multiplier, and the multi-mod are 3 suffixes, I cannot get any resistance on that. And I allocated corruption, this is the point over here, just because I'm saving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points with just anointing this one, because this has the big one with the chaos damage over time multiplier. The small nodes are just chaos damage flat, so it's not too necessary. And as I said, 1 corruption, double black, plus red, I think it was like 20 chaos or maybe 30 chaos for the black oils to get this for free, and then have 7 skill points, and then go more into area of effect, power charges, and so on. For the rings, life resistance, belt, rampage, as easy as that. For the flask, I choose to go with a bubbling divine life flask with poison immune, then a cinder swallow urn with the craft of regen life per second during flask effect. This is super nice, and this will enable you to run no regen maps, since the recover is not affected by the regen. So if it's no regen map and you kill something and you recover 3% life, this is not regen, so you can recover that. Then a sulfur flask with bleed immunity, a basalt flask with freeze immunity, and a quicksilver flask to move faster. So let's take a look at the skill tree. We are a witch, so we're starting at spell damage here. You can, or at least like the Bane is getting transformed, or at least like modified by spell damage as well. Modifiers to spell damage apply to the skill's damage over time effect, so that's why we can take spell damage as well. then life, AoE, AoE, even more AoE, power charges, life. What else is here? Like, basically, this whole skill tree path of building link is in the description below, as always. Basically, we have all damage over time clusters. We have a lot of life nodes here, and we have a lot of AoE nodes and the power charges. This is pretty much sums up the skill tree. Nothing too special here. One thing I want to mention, take this small little point here, because this one is 4% spell damage per power charge. Any other small node here attached to power charges is just increased duration. But this one, the small one, will give you in the end like 7 times 4, 38. 28% spell damage for free. 38, what the hell. So anyways, jewel wise, I just have here damage over time, chaos damage over time multiplier, and life. If you are on a budget, then just chaos damage over time multiplier, since it's more damage than the damage over times flat, and life. These are the only 2 stats. Same over here, same over here, same over here. These are all the same chaos damage over time multiplier and life nodes. Then here I took the intuitive leap to get Dreamer, Overcharge, and Melding. And then I have a Watcher's Eye with the damage over time multiplier by affected by Malevolence. Mine has also the increased recovery rate of life and energy shield, just for a little bit more defense. But if you're short on a budget, then just the standalone damage over time multiplier by Malevolence, since it's both affecting your Bane and your Herald of Ash. So anything else that is worth talking about? I don't think so. Alright, yeah, Ascendancies. So I choose to go with Profane Bloom, Malediction, Forbidden Power, and the Vile Bastion. Why did I not choose Void Beacon and Withering Presence if it just gives me a lot of chaos damage over time multiplier and Wither? The thing is, enemies nearby have minus chaos resistance. Here also, nearby enemies. So what does nearby mean? If the waypoint is an enemy, I have to stand here so it gets affected by it. The way I play it, I just gonna be like a pussy here. I stand away, get this on max range, and just walk away, run around, dodge everything, you know. So this is basically, if I spend those points here, I would only get the chaos damage over time multiplier, which is nice, and the chaos resistance. But in the end, I decided to be stun immune with the Vile Bastion and also Forbidden Power. So we have a power charge generation. So if I'm just spamming my spells here, Flame Dash, the way you're gonna play the map anyways, you're gonna generate power charges, and power charges will end up in an even more area of effect. Alright, so good. Next thing to talk about, Bandits. I killed all because this is not a crit build, so I want to have the 2 skill points. For the Pantheons, I just did Uber Elder, that's why I took Solaris and Ugol. For mapping, I usually take Lunaris and I think it was Grudkul or something, or there's one with movement speed even, this one, Garokan. Increased movement speed if you haven't been hit recently. So Garokan and Lunaris just for even more speed is quite nice to have, or Shakari for poison immunity, whatever. It's just like preference what you take over here. So, let's talk about the MTX real quick. Transcendent Dagger ×2, then the Aurath Weapon effect, the Ghost Flame, Skull, Ghost Flame, Body Armor, Gloves, and Boots with the Ghost Flame Wings, Abyss Eyes with Holy Eyes that you can barely see, Corsair Footprints, then the Corsair Character effect with the Redeemer Portal effect. Then we have Bane, doesn't have any MTX. Arcane Spell Totem here, the Wither effect for Celestial for the totems here, Dark Immortal Call, Corsair Aura effect, then the Corsair Flame Dash, and the Ghost Flame Herald of Ash. So, let's talk about things that I tried on the build, things that did not properly work out. So, as you will remember on the first episode of this build, I was playing Eldritch Battery Mind Over Matter. I think, let me check if I have this helm somewhere. I haven't sold it yet, so it has to lay around somewhere. But I cannot even remember. I think I bought it for 10x, so maybe it's here. Great. I want to talk about an item that I cannot even find anymore. I did put it in some stash, but I kinda... Yikes. Not here, not here, not here. Ah, here it is. Holy shit. So, I was playing with the Devouring Diadem. So what does this do if you gotta get it into the Helm slot? You have Eldritch Battery. Eldritch Battery means that your energy shield will now protect your mana instead of your life, which is fine, since now you can reserve 100% mana, and then you can use Mind Over Matter, so 30% of the damage you take is going on mana, since we don't have mana, since it's protected by the energy shield, you're gonna have another layer of defense here. So why did I stop using that one? A simple fact here, we cannot leech from enemies. We can do if we have an Ethereus Promise in terms of life, but we cannot really leech energy shield unless we do like how you say, a Stormbrand energy shield leech support, something like that, where you can actually leech, right? And it happened yesterday like 2 or 3 times when I was digging deeper into my delve with this build, that I died because I got hit like 2 times in a row and all my energy shield was gone and I could not cast any spells anymore. And it was, I died because of the Mind of a Matter Eldritch Battery. And that's why I say, like, if you cannot really leech energy shield to make your energy shield recharge, you're gonna kill yourself if somebody hits you. And it happened yesterday 2 times. That's why I said, like, I'm better off with just not running it, reserving a little bit less mana here, because I was running Purity of Elements on top of that. So I skipped all of that, got some more resistance on my rings, and now I'm just running Malevolence and Herald of Ash. And I think I died once today, but you're gonna see that on the Uber Elder fight, why I died. But yeah, anyways. So I think this is just not worth it. And on the other hand, if we are reserving all of our mana and we have Energy Shield on our mana, we cannot proc Arcane Surge and we cannot get power charges, because this explicitly say gain a power charge after spending 200 mana. That means if you don't have mana and if you use your skills based on your energy shield, you will never have this effect. So we lose the power charges and we use the Arcane Surge, and I don't think this is actually too valuable at all. There is one trick that you can make it work. This one has trigger level 15 Feast of Flash every 5 seconds. So what you could do is getting a Blight setup with cast while channeling and then desecrate, so you have corpses around every 5 seconds. What's it called? God damn it. The Feast of Flash will then give you back energy shield, life, and mana, and this is how you could survive these situations. But I personally don't want to rely on, let's say I get a heavy hit, I'm dropping all of my mana, and the Feast of Flash just procced like 1 second ago. I legit have to run away 4 seconds, trying not to die. So I think it's just safer to not run Eldritch Battery on this type of build and just keep it the hybrid way and the mana way, as I'm playing it right now, with a lot of regen here with Dreamer and Arcane Will, so your mana will get regen quite fast, so you have a really flawless playstyle. So yeah, guys, that's it for the build. I'm just gonna say this is actually amazing and I really love to play it. And now I'm going to convert this one into a Death Oath character using the same principle with obliterations and the Herald of Ash combinations to maybe run the Death Oath on a Conk effect to have the maximum DPS output on the Death Oath to just start off the chain reaction as fast as possible. And we're gonna see how this one turns out. So guys, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and see you on the next video. So we're gonna do the first Uber Elder on this build with an actual Uber Elder carry attached. Not bad. And this with freaking Obliteration Wens. And Headhunter. I can already hear the comments, or read the comments. You were only able to do Uber Elder because you have Headhunter. I think that damage will be garbage. Biggest Bane in town.
Gaze into the abyss. Gaze into the abyss. How
Ouch. Okay, that is a very, very bad spot here. Oof. That was actually a very bad spot.
Gaze into the abyss. Gaze into the abyss.
So, last phase already. But that would basically just prove that you don't need any kind of expensive tier 1 chaos damage or time multiplier weapons.
Gaze into the abyss.
So now we have a problem. Join. Ah! I wrote join. Yeah, that was obvious, because I know when both are vulnerable now. That if I write join now and I just stand still, that I will probably just kill myself. No, that doesn't really count. Because since I'm doing AoE damage, Shaper is already dead, so. And Uber Elder actually too. Yeah, I don't care about this death, because if I wouldn't have written that he should join, then shouldn't have been any problem. But as I said, even though without any expensive weapons that give you a shit ton of damage, still doable. Hey, a Void Forge, is that the next build? This is my payment. Beep.